Hey, it's the DVD Dude, and I'm back again to talk about some more of my favorite videos from my collection. As you can see, I've clearly got a lot to talk about still. So I'm going to briefly cover a few of the new additions to my library and some of my favorites that I like. Some of these are kind of rare, some of them not so much, but definitely some of my some of my more treasured videos. There's a couple series here, like I got the Twilight Time series, which is awesome, but I wanted to get to these oscilloscope DVDs. The oscilloscope DVDs are really cool. I love how they set them up. This is Lowdown, a dramedy based on the life of Joe Albany, the famous jazz musician from the 70s, told from the perspective of her daughter, Amy. And I love how they set up these DVDs. They have these little, they have great artwork inside, and there are these little like paper fold-outs. They got a couple of texts on the side there. Oscilloscope. They put those in every single one, and they keep the disc right there. And very cool. Like nothing in here, just lots of photos to look at. Just amazing what they can fit in these little things. So I absolutely love oscilloscope DVDs. They're pretty expensive, but I think they're worth it because they do look nice in your collection with that packaging. Here's another one, 12 O'Clock Boys, which is a documentary about a gang in Baltimore, I believe. Yeah, Baltimore. About a gang of like motorcycle and ATV gangs that run around, Baltimore in ATVs and motorcycles. Great stuff in here. Interesting little documentary. It takes a look at the perspective of one kid over the course of a couple of years and how he idolizes these gangs. Pretty interesting stuff. So let's get to the Twilight Time Blu-rays here. Twilight Time does great Blu-rays. They put lots of extra features on them. They put little booklets inside. They have audio commentary. They have isolated audio tracks in every single one. You can always count on them to do a great release here. These four that I got here are all about women, as it turns out. Got The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, a dark little film about a teacher who doesn't quite play by the rules, but you kind of wish she did because she's kind of creepy in how she decides what she wants to do with these girls. She's like, oh, I'm going to teach them about art and the world, and I'm going to manipulate them to be who I choose them to be. And one of the girls will not have it. Here we go, another film. This is a film based on the real life of the Indian rebel Fulan, who led this rebellion against the Indian caste system when she was sold into marriage at a very young age, and she was raped repeatedly, and she decided that, well, I'm going to go on this brutal murder revenge. Of course, she escapes her arranged marriage husband and then comes back to basically beat the snot out of him. And it's very hard to watch some of these scenes. It's hard to watch her when she gets, beaten and raped. It's really hard to watch that. But it's also really hard to watch when she runs into town and basically assassinates all these people. It's difficult to watch, and it's kind of hard to recommend a film like that. Like, oh, it's hard to watch. Well, how can you watch it? So I guess it's a very important film to see for that in that regard. Another film based on a real-life woman is the story of Adele H, which is about a crazy lady, the daughter of Victor Hugo, who tracked a soldier that didn't love her all the way to Nova Scotia. And she basically keeps following him all over the place, and she writes in her diary all this strange stuff. Like, she's a very, very crazy lady, but she never gets help, and it doesn't end well for her. What I love about this film is that there are tons of moments where you think like, okay, maybe she could find love here. Maybe she could have a better life for herself. She did this, but no, she's dedicated to this one man, and it's destroying her life. Very sad and very strange. Like, it's kind of it's darkly comical, like how far this woman goes just to get this one man. Even though it's sad that she's insane. This is another Truffaut film, as it happens, The Bride Wore Black, which is about this woman who goes on a revenge spree of murder on these 5 men who murdered her husband on their wedding day. Now, I know what you're thinking. It kind of sounds like Kill Bill, and it's like, well, yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of Kill Bill in it, though. Even though I think Tarantino said he wasn't that inspired by the film. But this one was actually pretty interesting. I love the way that she goes about her revenge. Like she slowly gets into the heads of these five men, and she tries to slowly seduce them. And we spend a little bit of time with the men before she gets there, so we know a little bit about these people. And when you actually find out why they killed her husband, it's kind of ridiculous. And she finds out like about halfway through, and she's like, "Okay, now I'm really all gonna kill y'all." So yeah, I mean, it's not Truffaut's best film. Like, in fact, I think he remarked that it wasn't quite the film he wanted to do. But even for being not Truffaut's best, it's still pretty watchable. So there you go. All right, so some other films we got here. Thought I'd bring this up because these are a little bit rare, and I know a lot of people are looking for these. Is the Star Wars limited edition DVDs that were released back in 2006. Now, these are the ones that are famous for having the Laserdisc transfer on here as a special feature, believe it or not, on the second disc. Now, they call it a special feature because, like, the Laserdisc print they have on here is not an anamorphic widescreen. It's letterboxed. So if you're watching it on your HD TV, you're going to see the little black bars on the side and below it, which kind of stinks. But for many, this is like the only home video release on DVD that is as close to the original Star Wars as a lot of people remember. This is before the special editions came out, where they had all the CGI effects added in and all the extra other stuff they had for the Blu-rays. So these are, for many, these are like the DVDs to buy at this point. Hopefully in the future they'll have the Laserdisc versions on DVD, but I wouldn't hold my breath. So this is your best shot, unless of course you want to keep watching the VHS or the Laserdiscs if you can find them, which are also pretty collectible. So let's get into some animation here. This is my favorite cartoon from when I was a kid, Samurai Pizza Cats. I absolutely loved this show as a kid, and as an adult, I love it even more. Because it was written kind of like Animaniacs. Like, it was very meta. It broke the fourth wall anytime it could. It cracked as many zingers as it could. From what I understand, when Saban, the company who bought the show to air in America from Japan, they didn't receive that. They either received poor translations or no translations of this show. So they basically wrote their own scripts trying to figure out what they could do just to make it funny. And you can kind of see that in here. It kind of feels like, they're just winging it, trying to, stage any dialogue they want for whatever's on screen, which is actually hilarious. It's kind of like watching Mystery Science Theater. I don't know if it's entirely true from what I've heard. Some of the voice actors actually got drunk before they came into the booth to record some of this audio. And you kind of listen to it, and you could kind of believe it at some points. No special features on here, but from Discotech, Discotech does a really nice job at preserving old Japanese animation, and they do a great job here. Although I'm kind of kicking myself because the moment I bought this, Discotech released they announced that they were going to have a Blu-ray of Samurai Pizza Cats that was going to have all 52 episodes on one Blu-ray disc. Not in HD, which I'm glad that they mentioned, but to have it all on one Blu-ray disc, that would be awesome, because this set for all 52 episodes is huge. I mean, just all those discs, man. So, I really wish I could have had that. That would have been convenient. So, kind of kicking myself, but definitely you watch the show. It's hilarious. I can't get enough of it. Let's get to some more rare stuff here. We have Fantastic Planet. This is a great, strange little French animated film about this planet of blue alien beings that lord over the humans, which are like tiny creatures on this planet that they treat as insects and pets. And there's all sorts of weird creatures on this planet, just one after another, just bang, 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 bang. It amazes me how much creativity is in every single one of these shots in this film. It's kind of shot in stop motion animation, kind of, sort of. Like, they use like the typical stop motion effects for when there's like a background pan or a character's panning across the background, and then there's actual like hand-drawn animation for when like the characters move their arms or stuff. So pretty unique style. Definitely a cool little film to check out. It is pretty hard to find though. This is the special edition DVD that's been long out of print. I found this at Half Price Books for about $25. So that should tell you how cheap it is. But if you can find it, definitely pick it up. This is probably the DVD I would pick up for it if you can't find the Blu-ray. There are some more kind of like public domain DVDs which aren't as great quality, like, and they don't have like the English dub on it. But definitely, if you have not seen this film, you have to see it in some way, shape, or form. So if you can find it, and I hope that some other company releases it soon. And why not? Let's end with this one. We got Ralph Bakshi's Coonskin. First time on DVD. I had never owned Coonskin. I had to watch it through through the library's VHS copy when I was in college. And I absolutely regret not buying this when it was on sale, when Blockbuster was selling off all their VHS tapes, and they were selling the VHS version that was called Street Fight. It was renamed to that. And I absolutely kicked myself for years, like, oh, why didn't I buy that? Why didn't I get that? It's like the one Bakshi film I didn't have in my collection. And now I finally have it. And no extras on here, but it's like pretty cheap, and the quality is pretty good for DVD. Bakshi considers it one of his best films, and honestly, I think it's up there. I think, in terms of my favorite Ralph Bakshi animated films, it's between this and Heavy Traffic. So, yeah. Definitely glad I have that in my collection.